Cartoon Arc used to suck, but now that there are some new shows on, does Cartoon Arc still suck? Stick around to find out. Thanks for tuning into the channel. If you're new here, then I make new television videos every single week. So subscribe if you like television and you want to see more of this, because there's plenty coming. Anyway, Cartoon Arc has gotten a lot of flack in recent years for its sheer and abject mismanagement of itself, from scheduling to marketing to content even in some ways. And while I could spend an entire video going on about what exactly Cartoon Arc has gotten wrong, and I think I kind of have already, you can go see that up here, for the sake of time, I'm just going to assume that you're aware of the massive disaster that Cartoon Arc has been over the last few years. It's turned a lot of people off the network for one reason or another, but I guess it's time to turn a new leaf. We're in the first year of a brand new kids content cycle. I've explained that concept in another video up here, and it's time for a new generation of series to come to the forefront and define another generation of kids TV. Given that we're almost a year into the cycle at this point, we can actually take a look at the first fruits of Cartoon Arc's labor. So, in the wake of poorly done reboots, atrocious scheduling, and abject dysfunction, is Cartoon Arc even worth watching in 2018? To judge that, we have to watch their latest work. And for the purposes of this video, I've defined that as 4 current series: Craley Creek, OKKO, Let's Be Heroes, Apple and Onion, and Summer Camp Island. Now, I know there's a lot of hype about some coming second-year prods like Victor and Valentino and Infinity Train, but those aren't out yet, so we'll have to get to those another time. Today we're looking at recent, current series and judging the state of the network based on that. Here's hoping I don't get attached again. And just after I've finally cut myself free from my own Adventure Time's over. First up, Craley Creek. Given the past few years of bad choices at CN, I was kind of inclined to tune this one out, but basically, the show revolves around a group of kids who use a nearby wood area as a ham and escape from their adult-dominated regular lives. Situationally, it sounds like somewhat of a nature-themed counterpart to Clarence, which gave, in my opinion, similar leeway to its characters. Stylistically, it reeks of remnants of Steven Universe, though in the event we do ever enter a post-Steven age, I guess that would be warranted. I'm coming in blind on Craig, so I don't know necessarily what to expect out of it, though my bar is rightly very low. I started where anyone would, right with episode 1. My rationale is that if you don't strike my fancy in the first few episodes, you're not going to strike it at all. The episode is largely a quest for that fleeting slice of fame only earned by naming a landmark. I understand. The show has a certain charm to it, and while the exploits of fearless leader type Craig, warrior complex ridden Kelsey, and country comic relief JP were enough for me to give them all 3-word descriptions of their characters, I wasn't all that interested in the episode itself. It was very simplistic. The A and B plots were fairly apparent and barely there, respectively, and it didn't seem to break my expectations in any meaningful way. The plot wasn't all that complex, honestly, nor that they seemed interested in complicating it. I wasn't endeared to the characters as of yet, and the plot of the episode was uninteresting, albeit one that speaks to my heart. It wasn't looking too good so far. While episode 2 lured me in with a brief moment of high school humor and a little more backstory about the trio's regular lives, the complexity only increased marginally as our trio looked to end an age-old game. It seems like there's some sort of format here. About a minute or two of B plot leads into the A plot, which runs unimpeded until the last 30 seconds or so of the episode. The formula is fine, but the execution, despite speaking to an insecurity of mine this time, still feels lacking. I gave it one more episode to try and change my mind, but my bar was lower now than when I had come in. While the plot arcs had come up to what I felt were acceptable levels, now that we know a few characters, and I was starting to notice and almost appreciate the formula, as the episode explores best laid plans gone awry, I didn't feel endeared to the show. The characters are decent, the plots are alright, but I don't really care about this show. I have some of the longing to see it get better, but I have my doubts on it being fulfilled. Part of me wanted to watch another episode, another part of me worried about just being strung along through another ultimately unfulfilling 11 minutes. But maybe that's the thing about this show. It's interesting enough to keep your eyes on when it's on, but not interesting enough to make you want to watch it again on your own. Almost background TV, like a Disney XD rerun of Phineas and Ferb in this day and age. Episode 4 was fulfilling, actually. I started to laugh along a bit as I was pulled into a semi-convenient library mystery, formula very much intact. I ended up being conflicted after that episode, actually. Did it just take a while to get going, or was this a one-off? Now I had to know. So, akin to book 17, I went on to episode 5 and, well, we all have to come down from a high. Ideally, not when we were jumping off a boat about to explode. I was torn on it, but after watching episode 6 far more than what I was intending to base my opinion on, I felt like I could form a solid set of thoughts. Craley Creek is underwhelming. It's overtly formulaic and somewhat gimmicky as we meet a story of new characters of the creek and surrounds, but while those aren't the makings of a bad show, those two things could also describe Phineas and Ferb, it doesn't do engaging characters and engaging plot execution well enough or consistently enough for me to really be hooked on. Next up, OKKO. By far the most high-profile new series to come out of CN's 18 to 22 cycle to date, centering around the title character's aspirations to rise to greatness in a superpowered universe. Apparently, from what I've gleaned since the show came out, they have dived into some lore, which is always a good thing. And apparently it's already halfway through season 2 now, which caught me by surprise given my position on CN at the moment. But I wasn't entirely sold when I watched this for the first time, though I had been interested in trying it again. So here goes. OKKO, let's get this over with. I'd already seen the first episode, and my feelings on it hadn't changed. It sets up the plot. KO is going to work at Lakewood Plaza Turbo on his quest to become a hero. Yeah, and? After 4 episodes, I wasn't sold. The characters had gelled well, and we were well into the first season antics phase, but I didn't care. I wasn't sold. This show wasn't a knockout. It really only confirmed the feelings I had when I tried this show the first time. Well, I've heard about surprises and twists somewhere over the rainbow. As a viewer, none of that matters if you can't hold me through an episode early on. I'm not going to care about the promise of the show magically getting better if it doesn't give me reason to look forward to any of that in the first place. Now I'm going to continue with Apple and Onion and Summer Camp Island in a second part of this video, which should be coming out in just a few days. So if you want to see that and the conclusion to this whole thing, the big answer, subscribe so you don't miss it. Of course, like and share as well, and I will see you in the next video.